What's your secret that could literally ruin your life if it came out? I have a former boss that did me really dirty over and over again. He eventually threw me under the bus for a couple of mistakes he made, and I lost my job when my wife was 7 months pregnant. One day while driving to a family member's house, I saw his very distinct truck parked in a driveway and realized that I discovered where he lives by accident. One weekday afternoon I walked through his yard and sprinkled about a half pound of kudzu seeds throughout, and I threw about 10 bamboo shoots under his deck. This was about 6 years ago, and the kudzu is all over his yard. I drive by his house occasionally. He's had to take down a large number of very large trees that have been choked out by the vines. That alone has probably cost him several thousand of dollars. F that guy. I was expecting sugar in his gas tank. This is so much better. At first I thought about putting some kind of tracking device on his car so I could send friends of mine to F with him. Like if he was out to dinner with his GF, send one of my female friends to the restaurant to pretend to be his jealous side chick. Maybe have a couple of friends tailgate him with their brights on occasionally. Like every couple of weeks throw a wrench in his day. The devil calls and says he's filing a restraining order. Probably won't ruin my life, but when I was like 8 or something I made a video with my real name of me dancing on my bed in a skirt and bra asking for a boyfriend. They still haven't taken it down, and I looked at it a month ago or so, and it's a fucking perv nest. I didn't know what any of what I was doing meant at the time, and if my parents found out they would probably never let me see the light of day again. Report it anonymously. Is there a branch of law enforcement that you can report something like this to? I'm sure it could be taken down far faster than waiting for a company's staff to check user reports. If it's on YouTube it would get taken down automatically if you report it for copyright. That kind of thing happens a lot. The automated system takes it down, and then if the uploaded appeals it, a real person may get involved. I love my children, but I hate being a parent. My wife wouldn't see it as separate concepts. Dude, yes. Those are two very different things. Having the capacity to love another being does not equate to wanting/enjoying being a parent. I wish you all the best. Until I turned 15, I would S myself about every other day due to my IBS. Made me feel like I was some grotesque subhuman. It was a lonely time. I'm still recovering. If it makes you feel any better, I'm in my late 20s and have occasionally shat myself during and since graduating college due to bad food and or poor dietary choices. Doesn't happen often, but enough that I hesitate to trust a fart. When I was younger, got bullied a lot and was very unstable. I made plans for a school shooting. I had access to guns, ammunition. I knew what to do. I had a rest list of who to kill. It was supposed to end in me jumping off the tallest place in school and dying. I thought I was some kind of martyr saving the students from living on this hell of an earth. I wasn't. I was miserable, suicidal, and in the worst circles. I never told this to anyone except people online. I had a blog about it, and people were cheering me on. I had a breakdown and was yelling about how I want to kill everyone. A girl I thought hated me and who was on my S list calmed me down, hugged me and told me everything is going to be okay. She stopped a tragedy and she doesn't even know it. Bringing this back up feels weird. I repressed it very far back into my mind and hope I will never ever fall down that path again. It took years of therapy and self-reflection to get rid of my homicidal thoughts, but they are completely gone now. I'm actually friends with most people on my old S list now. They are all genuinely great people, and I was an idiot for not seeing that. I truly hope this never gets out. Nobody deserved to hear this and have this on their heart. My past self scares me. Reading my old diary scares me. That wasn't me. It doesn't feel like me. I feel like I have to take every opportunity I get to do as much good as possible to make up for the person I was. Man, the good ones are always at the bottom. I lied about my qualification for my current job. I also lied about graduating high school. My twin graduated, but I didn't because I got expelled. The school closed down soon after, so I just made a fake of a high school diploma and got into college that way. TV has taught me that this will inevitably lead to wacky hijinks when you are later found out by your colleagues and forced to return to finish high school at age 35. Or go to a community college to get your degree. Didn't you get your law degree from Columbia? Yes. And now I need one from America. Apostrophe. And it can't be an ML attachment. I brought a gun to school when I was in 7th grade to kill myself. Somehow I didn't pull the trigger. I'm glad you didn't. A person my daughter sat next in band brought a rifle to school in a guitar case. Brought one bullet. So sad. They had the same birthday, which is so random. We discovered we have an entire half family in another state in the Midwest. Our grandparents married out of convenience, for my grandmother was pregnant and my grandfather stepped in and pretended it was his child. In that state and day and age, having a bastard child could get you excommunicated from the church and shunned from everyone up there, as they were devoutly religious. Also, my grandfather had a twin who randomly disappeared when they were 2. We think he died. But most of our large internal family does not know of our half family of my grandfather's side. That was very kind of your grandfather. Marrying your grandma and raise your parent almost makes up for killing his twin when he was 2. No, it was the twin that survived and made the switch. So it was second nature for him to step in for the grandmother. He had already done it before. I hate it when Christoph and Alan or M. Night join in Reddit conversations. I have about $180,000 in cash in a secret bank account. We are currently living paycheck to paycheck because I'm buying our next house for cash. If she knew this money existed, she would probably trade it for Clash of Clans gems and other pretend game currency. She has zero ability to budget or control impulse spending. Lol, how are you planning on breaking the news when you buy the house? Or just pretend you have mortgage to pay? Honestly, that's a smart way to do it if you think about it. Most financial advisors I've talked to said, if you have a car payment, then finish the loan out. Instead of seeing that as extra money, just keep making the payment amount to a savings account. I'm a senior software engineer working for groundbreaking new super secretive projects for one of the companies in the top 10 of the Fortune 500. And I actually don't have the faintest clue what I'm doing. I Google almost everything and string things together in a sorta sensible way, and people are happy as can be for some reason. By now I'm pretty sure I'm in a social experiment. Or maybe I'm the village idiot they have to entertain so that I don't go outside and break things that matter. They call it imposter syndrome, but like, really? Guys, I really don't know what the hell I'm doing. It's just Google answering my endless stream of questions. I only successfully passed the job interview because they gave me plenty of time, without me doing it live, to work on their job interview assignment. My 6-figure salary feels so unjust. I often see people working at a fast food joint who seem smarter than I am. And I could set fire to a kettle boiling water. They're at least flipping burgers, which I can't do without causing gender reveal-esque disasters. I feel the imposter syndrome quite a bit. I'm military and at the E7 level. I get commended on my leadership skills and I literally feel like Patrick trying to find the lid. I had more than a few NCOs who were fucking morons, and it used to drive me nuts when they'd advise me on something that I knew was incorrect. Such is the military though. Gotta respect the rank, not the person. This is in no way a shot at you. The fact that you said what you did shows a level of self-awareness that most idiots don't have. That I'm probably the reason a kid I used to know killed himself. He was messed up to begin with, lived a hard life, but he was getting better. I was young and addicted to heroin. I introduced him to heroin. 3 months later he blew his brains out on his girlfriend's lawn. I'm pretty sure if I hadn't introduced him to that he'd still be alive right now. The kicker on top of that is my father kind of believes that he's the reason this kid killed himself, but my father doesn't know about my addictions, so I can't really tell him the truth either. Why does your dad think he's the reason? He worked for us. He was fired right before it happened. My father believes his firing was the straw that broke the camel's back, but even if it was his firing, was because he was addicted to heroin and was not doing well anymore. You could just tell your dad you saw him doing drugs or anything. I should clarify, I'm not suggesting you do this. It's just a thought exercise. I mean, if your dad's feeling really guilty, he doesn't have to know you're doing drugs. Maybe he confided in you that he'd taken up heroin or something. It's not true anymore. But have you ever heard the stories of the woman who got arrested for lying about her address to send her kids to a better school? My mom did that for my entire kindergarten up through 10th grade. And with my older brothers before me, used a yuppie family member's address. I was going to the nice, rich white school on the other side of town. BC, they had fancy app courses and whatnot. I was zoned for one of the worst schools in the city. Low opportunities and all. Bad behavior issues. I could have prob gotten valedictorian or at least top 10 without trying. If I hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't be getting my masters now. If we had been found out, my mom would have been arrested. No doubt. Probably fired. BC, her job was with the government. She was the breadwinner. We would have prob lost the house and stuff. Would have ruined us. They never found out though. And they don't care now, since I'm long gone. It sucked. BC, I could never have friends over or join clubs and stuff like that. It was lonely. I wouldn't do that to my kids. But I'm grateful for where I'm now. The fact that this is punishable by jail angers me. Your mom is very brave. You want to give your child a better education by sending him to a better school, which provides more resources and gives him better opportunities instead of sending him to the worst school in the city where we say he belongs. Okay, that's it, you're going to prison. My addiction. I would lose wife, baby, parents, friends and my home all in the space of half hour if anyone found out. Edit. I'm UK based, so a few of the drugs people have suggested are available to me here. Thank you to each and every one of you. I didn't expect to get one reply, let alone the amount that have. I honestly have and will read each and every one, and even if I haven't replied, I have taken on board what all of you are saying. Once again, thank you. What's your addiction, if you don't mind me asking? Opiates. As the child of a very high functioning long-term opiate addict, I can tell you they know. If they don't, they are going to find out soon. Please reach out for help before it's too late to save everything you care about. I was abused as a kid by a neighbor. Only my wife and a therapist know. I don't want others to know about it. It wouldn't ruin my life, but it would make it uncomfortable. I'm so sorry this happened. I'm no expert, but anyone who uses this terrible thing to make you uncomfortable shouldn't know in the first place. Glad to hear you have told someone, because something like this must have been hard to hold in. Edit. Shouldn't. Almost took me out a few times. Never told my dad or brothers. He was a family friend and coach who helped my dad out when my mom died. Ate me up inside, but met my wife in college. She saved my life. Made me go to therapy. I was against it, but it works. You can't trick me, dude. I will keep that secret for myself. Everyone remembers that shitty emoji you posted, and we will never let you live it down. I have suicidal thoughts every single day. I'm depressed and anxious, and I don't know what would happen if my parents found out. They'd be mad at me. I've kinda gone through the same stuff. I'm free to talk if you need someone. I faked suicide online. I got to be really good friends with this one girl on Discord. I helped her out a bunch on her server, and it started gaining members really quickly. After 2 months, it started going downhill. She insulted me, picked on my hobbies, and made fun of the games I like to play, calling me a baby and a loser. When I stood up to her, she just called it a joke. Then she started handing out staff promotions to whoever could insult me the best, and nearly everyone there turned against me. I tried to walk away from the friendship several times, but I couldn't help coming back. She turned into a part of my life in such a short time, and without her I felt empty. Then at the 3-month mark, she went overboard and told me to die, saying that nobody would care and they'd all be happy without me. I never ever talked back to her or insulted her back for fear of adding fuel to the flames. But this was too much. So, I thought, why not just fake dying? This was obviously stupid, but I was really far gone at this point from bottling up all my anger. I typed up a suicide note telling her it was her fault I died, and had a trusted acquaintance in the server send it to her. I don't know what happened next. I wish I could say with confidence she regretted bullying me, but the 3 months I spent with her told me she was a psychopath. I still regret doing what I did. I couldn't reach out to a therapist because my parents would have never agreed to it. I couldn't call anyone because I didn't have a phone. I wish I'd just left, but it's really too late. Holy crap, this is technically /r/nuclear revenge, and I'm sure she deserved the regret temporarily, but Donham. To be fair, this is horrible, but I don't think you possessed the foresight to envision the consequences. I don't blame you though. She was being a vile human being, and in the short time after, she definitely deserved it. But hey, I'd say you both have learned your lessons. Ruin is too strong a word, because I would carry on just fine. I don't have any positive regards for my mom anymore. She wore me out with a lifetime of irrational /dumb /lazy /semi-abusive behavior. I actually don't hate her. I simply don't care anymore. I wish I could walk away and openly admit to my siblings that I'm done. I can't. For reasons that involve long story. So I keep it to myself. I understand this completely. I do. And there's nothing wrong with it. I've had to explain numerous times to people that as an adult, I have every right to keep toxic people out of my life. Regardless of if they are family or not. Some people will die on that hill. Swear to God. I have zero relationship with the woman. But my dad and I are sort of friendly strangers. He loves to call himself my dad while offering zero support in any way, shape or form. I've out myself through college with the $100 he gave me for gas money 4 years ago. He recently texted me that he had a horrible accident. Broke 11 ribs and a pelvic bone, and when I got the text, I suddenly had to accept that I really didn't care all that much. I felt nothing, if slightly annoyed. And I know he will be taken care of. I live 9 hours away. All of his other kids live in his city. What's more, they have incentive to support him because he is a dad to them and a wonderful grandpa to their children. He helped them buy their first houses, paid for part of their educations, gives father advice, does the family activities and holiday dinners, the all of it. I'm the black sheep who is expected to unconditionally support him because he barely raised me, and I never get invited to holiday dinners either. I know why my grandmother died. We found her in her bathroom after a few days. Dead. Had an autopsy report because it looked sus according to the police. They came back inconclusive. Found lots of diazepam in her system because she always claimed to have anxiety, but she always put on such a show. When she was out she was on some crazy dose. To cut a long story short, she's dead because I told her to do it. She sexually abused me when I was between 4 to 10 years old. Around the time she died, I was in a good job and a good relationship, and her grip on me had been waning significantly since we moved a bit further away. She called less and less, always guilting me whenever she called. In the end, she talked about how close we used to be and I snapped. I have no remorse for this. Justice has been done. Coroner's report was inconclusive between accidental death and suicide. But I know I won. My mom abused me till I was 22. The day of, I received hundreds of texts of how much she hated me. I finally stood up for myself and told her to get over herself. Such simple words, I suppose, but enough for her to want to get back at me like always. She hung herself that night. I went looking for her when she wasn't home, but couldn't find her. The next day police notified my older brother, who notified me. I had to notify my younger brother. At first I felt guilty because I knew she was capable of this. I should have been more careful of my words. I felt guilty I didn't search harder. I said sorry thousands of times in my head like some spell that would bring her back because I was conditioned that her misery was my doing. Then came the funeral and I saw her dead body and felt nothing. That nothing turned into extreme hatred as my little brother broke down. As time has gone on, the hatred has cooled to some degree and relief has taken its place. I'm glad she is dead. I'm alive. So in my opinion I won in the end. Even though she still has some rental space in my head. I'm glad you found peace. I got there from work in time to see the body being taken out by the coroners in a body bag. There were a lot of tears and mixed emotions, especially since the autopsy took a month or so. No tears at the funeral. My ex-wife cried more than I did. It's important that they went by their own hand. They started the pain, and they damn well can put an end to it. I hope you're in a good place too. They don't have a hold over us now. We are free.